Hello everyone, it's Caribbean and Tina.
Hola.
Welcome to the channel. Hope everybody's just having a wonderful day and that you're in the best of health.
Yes, health being most important. So we had a live, I would say about a week ago.
About a week ago, I believe. It was
2
a
weeks.
week.
Oh, it's been 2 weeks.
Because
we're ready for our next live, yeah. So it's been a couple of weeks and we had a contest in which a viewer got to pick the next question. Although, Luisa, you pick questions, but I'm going to let you pass because I like you, on what we should do as a topic on YouTube. So here we go.
Hello.
From Luisa. Hello, Eric and Tina. Hi, guys. I think this topic could be interesting because it will encompass senior people of different ages that want and are thinking to make the move to the DR, but have uncertainty on certain topics at this time of their life. So, Luisa, you picked it. We're doing it. We're going to answer some of the questions that you had. Now, the concerns or questions that she has first is leaving behind or selling your asset or assets that they have accomplished in their life. So all the stuff that they've accomplished in their life, would that be a good move? Bringing all that stuff or selling it and leaving it is what she's asking.
Well, you know, I did a video on that not too long ago. And basically, when you come here and do your initial research on the areas you want to live in and then the big apartment that you want to have or home, then that will determine how much stuff you want to bring. But remember, the bigger container you are to ship, the more it's going to cost.
Right.
So either you just going to let it go, either you can't let it go, or you just got to write a bigger check.
That's your opinion.
That's my opinion.
So I think that people have a really hard time letting things go. I said that with him and with the things that we decided to bring. And I said we shouldn't have brought as much as we did bring. And actually, I just mentioned to you that we should what? Start to downsize and look through our things.
Right.
And get rid of what we, now being here over a year and a half, if you haven't used it, you don't probably need it.
Right.
So I think that we tend to emotionally hold on to things that we don't really need. I think that especially those that have not had as much maybe growing up or through their lifetime for whatever circumstance tend to hold on to things because they think that hard times are coming and they would rather have it than not have it. But sometimes you don't even need that stuff. So I say let it go. Everything is either one of two things. It's either an asset, meaning like our electronics that we said to bring, right? Because they cost more here and the quality is not as great, you know, for the price. So, because you get a lot of Chinese products out here.
Right.
So we brought things that we knew, like our Apple TVs, our iPads, our, you know, cell phone devices.
Right. Selfie sticks, stuff like that. Speakers.
Yeah, your... what is that called? Soundbar. His Bluetooth speaker, his televisions. Things that we knew were easy to transport, but would be severely costly for us to have to find and buy here. So those things, I say yes, those are the kind of things you ship over. Some of the kitchen things like my bread maker, my blender, my mixer, things like that I brought over from the U.S. Other than that, I think you could do without. Big furniture we didn't really bring.
Right, we sure didn't.
In fact, we didn't have not one piece of furniture, just a stand, one stand.
One stand.
And then, so no beds, we brought none of that. And a lot of people hold on to homes and apartments and cars because they're thinking, well, what if I decide to go back? What if? And I said, if you hold on to what ifs, it can help, keep you in bondage, and then you can't see what's in the future. Might be better, might be bigger.
Right.
So that's my advice on that. And we did do that on one of our videos on when you're getting things in order. What are some of the things that we need to do? And the very first, or I think at least the top 5 things was downsize.
That's what it's all about when you're moving. You want to downsize. Because the more stuff you got, the more stuff you got to take, more stuff you got to deal with.
And then thinking to live in a third world country, especially if you live in the USA, is her second one. I don't consider this a third world country. Y'all can argue with me all you want. To me, a third world country is I'm living on a dirt road in a hut, and I have water on a need basis, not on a want basis. Here, we've said in a bunch of our videos, if we have, like you were saying about backup
plan?
No,
plan.
backup generators.
Oh, backup generators
and water.
And which is a necessity when you're moving out of the country. We showed you guys our place, how we live, and this is not like living in Cambodia somewhere. You're on a back road, can't get nowhere. You got to drive 2 or 3 days just to get to your first, Kamado or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
it's a big city.
Yeah, it's a big city, and big city. This is a big city living right here. Big city living in Santo Domingo, and a nice sized city at Punta Cana and Puerto Plata.
Yeah, so I wouldn't consider this third world standards. Third world standards is they hope and pray for clean water, or they have to have clean water brought in. Here they have all the systems in place. So no, I would not consider this. You're not giving up one for another. If you're talking about other places like maybe the Philippines or something like that, where you're really going to be out in the boonies of, because even there's big major cities where you don't even have to worry about third world living. So it depends on where you're going to move to. We know for a fact that we're speaking of DR, that this is by no means third world. So no, you're not giving up one for another, because like I've said, if you have to retire and live less than, why are you bothering to retire?
Right.
You retire so that you can live
better than.
Better than what you're living in the U.S., right?
Absolutely.
Okay, and with that also, she said, is it recommended to live in a place that can offer security services like the one you have in your building? Well, they don't offer the service. You either have security or you don't in some of these buildings and in some of the subdivisions, because they're like gated, guard gated, we've seen. Right.
And like I said, you get what you pay for. Okay, if you want just a small little gate guard out there, to wave you in and say how you doing, that's fine. You want 24-hour guard that watch over the whole building, watch everything, every movement.
With cameras.
With cameras all over the place, and you got cameras even inside your place to see what's going on outside. And when you got monitored garage entrances and exits and remote control, all that costs money, and that goes along with your association. But again, you get what you pay for. If you don't want to pay for that kind of stuff, then you won't have all that. But I wouldn't live nowhere, whether it's here in the world, Hanoi, Japan, U.S., I wouldn't live nowhere without some type of security.
Right. Because there's some things that money can't buy, and your life is definitely something that if you can pay to get protected, you should, because, you can't get that back.
Right.
Sometimes we dime and nickel things to death, and they say you spend money on what you think is important.
What you think is important. And you know what? You do what you feel that you have to do. So I'm not living in a box. Retirement.
Especially when you're talking about older.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to make sure that when you go to bed at night, you want to make sure that you're safe, you feel safe, you feel like, if something happens, there's somebody on guard, there's somebody watching over that's going to take care of business for you, and because that's what you pay for.
What he said. I agree with that. So her other question was, how do you deal with basic services like water, electricity, internet when those services cut off sometime during the week and you have a rental contract? So what we have is our building shares the same price for water, meaning every apartment pays exactly the same amount for water, which comes out to, I think it's like $24 or $26 a month. US, we're talking US. Then we're on our own for electric, gas, and internet.
Right.
So unless you found a rental place that has all that encompassed, and then you would just, anytime anything happened, I would think you would just get a hold of your landlord. But you wouldn't have those issues. Again, I think that they're still thinking very third world, where it's not like that here. Here, the electric does go out. And when I say go out, I mean it goes like this. The electric's on, then zoom, And then 5 seconds later, our backup generator pops up. So we don't sit for days and days and days
Right.
without electric. We only sit for seconds. It doesn't even take a minute for our
Right.
backup generator to go back on.
Right. Absolutely.
And then whenever the situation fixes itself, it goes off backup generator to our regular electric. So I don't know where you would be, although I have heard of some places that they lose electric. Did you have a friend that got a place up north and he said he was out of electric for a while?
Yeah, because he said because his landlord didn't know that there was problems with the generator, so the generator went out. So therefore, they didn't have no power. So when you don't have no power, that kind of really affects a lot of things. Quality of life goes away when you don't have no power. It's always good. I wouldn't move in nowhere without a backup generator.
Yeah,
without
and
a shower
backup cistern for
Right,
water.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But although we've been here over a year and a half, and we've never had any water issues, and I'd like to remind everyone that when we moved out here, was it when we moved here or when we were still in the other
I
apartment?
think it was in Los Jardines.
Where they were fixing the water?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, Los Jardines.
And
It is
our
generator.
water never went out. I thought it was here. It was here.
Was it here?
Yeah, we had just moved here. And they had started doing renovations of the water system and the sewer system. And so certain parts of Santiago, they let out a notice and say, hey, we're going to be doing it in your area at this day. And so there might be a day or 2 or 3 that, you may not have, or you may have limited amounts of water. We didn't have that problem because of where we live. So again, it's about choosing where you live, because we never missed a day with water. We had water every single day. There was literally people who were coming to stay with people who lived here because our water never stopped.
Right. While they were fixing it, it was a little brown when you first turned it on. But once the pipes got clear, it was good to go.
Yeah. So, like I said, there's that. And last question is about health insurance. Health insurance at a senior's age. Is there a ceiling in age to get health insurance, and will it cost more for a senior? And what does the health insurance cover? So again, I would point everyone, we have multiple videos on health insurance.
Yes, we do.
But to clarify a little bit, before you go back and watch those videos, let me tell you this. In the U.S., people are used to, as you get older, they charge you more.
More based on your age.
Right.
And pre-existing conditions.
That's the big one. So here, the thing is that you pay what you pay. It doesn't matter if you're 20, you're 40, or you're 80. The price is the price because you're paying for the coverage. And then she was also asking because they're engaged or boyfriend, girlfriend. They're not married. So what would be the deal? Is it worth them getting married? First of all, we've said this in multiple videos. The Dominican Republic does not see or recognize, I should say is the better word, a marriage in the United States. They are not affiliated with the United States. That's a whole ass other country. So people that are married like he and I in the United States, they might ask you for proof of your marriage, meaning they need to see a marriage certificate, but that by no means doesn't mean you're married here. Here you have to be married here.
Right. To be recognized.
Right. So the problem with health insurance is, though, that if you're not married, you're going to both have to get policies and pay individual premiums. Whereas if you were married and had a marriage certificate to show them, you pay one price. For our price that we quote, he is the primary on it because he's the male, and they put males first. And I am his wife, so I am included in it, no extra fee.
Right.
So, I mean, is it worth it? Well, depends on how high of insurance you want. And again, there's different tiers, there's different levels. You know how much insurance you're going to need. You know what you need coverage on. You know how much you're willing to pay out of pocket.
Absolutely.
As opposed to for a policy. And then we did a video here on medical insurance and no medical insurance, comparing the prices. And when you see that sometimes the price isn't that big of a deal, you might not even need insurance, so it might not be a big deal if you're married or not. Just saying.
Right, absolutely.
But it definitely does not, the stigma and the things that we think of in the U.S. do not apply here, meaning it does not matter what your age is, except for that some insurance policies, if you're over 50, do require you to do some type of physical, but it's not an in-depth up your rooter tooter kind of, they just want to make sure you don't have things like cancer or AIDS or, like high blood pressure is a big thing out here, so they kind of screen you for that. But other than that, I mean, it's relatively easy to get insurance here, and it doesn't matter. You won't pay more. And
it's what you want to pay. So you gotta look and see what policy that's going to work best for you.
For your budget, right?
And just for budgetary reasons. And you just take out what's for you, and what else you don't need, you don't need.
Yeah.
Because I love going to my dentist and not paying the full price because I have insurance.
Yes.
With my braces and the crown, all that kind of stuff.
I love it.
I've had like major reconstruction surgery just on my mouth.
Yeah.
And I'm halfway done with it now, but I still got some more work to do. So that level of insurance, I want to keep it going until I'm completely complete with all my dental work. Then I'm good to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know that a lot of the seniors, which I would say 65 plus, that are maybe thinking about coming out here and retiring because the cost of living is so economical, the price of food, medical, all that stuff is so economical. Do not worry. They're not going to charge you more because you're a senior, which I think is one of the biggest travesties that the United States does to seniors.
Right. And out here, there's communities out here that they love expats, especially out there up north, or what's that, Los Terrenos up there?
Samanan, all that, yeah.
Yeah, Samanan, okay. They love expat communities up there. You come out here, you get to mingle with them, you learn more information, and I mean, it's just information to me is very, very important, especially when you move into a foreign country. You got neighbors, you got people and you got expats all around you that can speak English too, and they can help you. You can ask them what they got, how it work for them, and everything like that. But for the most part, it's always going to be, like I said, somebody that's not too far from you, that's got the same questions that you have, that can help you because they already been through it.
Yeah, trial and error. That's honestly the best teacher because we've learned so much. Yeah. So, I mean, that was just some. That was some of her questions, but I think that was the basic gist of all of them. Oh, one more was about how far should they live from hospital, medical facilities in case of emergencies, general medical appointments, and checkups. And we've also said that in a ton of videos. How important it is about where you're located to pick some place. I don't care what your age is. You should always be centrally located where you can get to X, Y, and Z, meaning your food, so grocery stores or restaurants if you don't want to cook. How close are you to medical facilities? Because it's important that you not be too far, because some of these cities do have a tendency of being really far out of the ways of a major hospital in case of an emergency, God forbid, and say you don't have the type of medical coverage that we have where they would come and airlift you. What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And you know what? There's a big difference between a clinic and a hospital.
Yeah.
Okay? A clinic can take care of stitches, sutures, small little stuff, check your blood pressure, all this kind of stuff. But when you talking about x-rays and this and that, and all those extenuating circumstances and health issues that pop up, you need to be in a big hospital, somewhere that you can go and you got everything there that you need. Because I'll tell you something, if you got really something wrong with you and it's a major problem, they're going to bring you to the big city anyway.
Yes.
They're going to bring you here. I mean, they're going to bring you here. A lot of people end up here. A lot of people.
I had to laugh because remember when we were reading that who was he? He's the head of tourism for Punta Cana, Puerto Plata. And he tested positive for COVID. He fell ill. And where did they bring him? Santiago,
Dominican Republic.
To come to the hospital. So I'm not lying when I say we have some of the best hospitals. I'm just saying.
And plus recognized by the World Health Organization.
So, I mean, you need to be by things like that. Like I said, you need to be by pharmacies. You need to be by banks. It's even better because it gives you more of a reason to be out in the beautiful weather and get a little exercise if you could walk to these places. But even if it's not far of a taxi ride or Uber ride or, a moto, if you want to get on the motoconchos, I don't trust those motorcycles, but that's on you. But things like that, you know, you got to be, like I said, in a close proximity to get to what you need. To me, I would never, and maybe it's just me, I would never live where I have to travel an hour to go shopping. I would never travel an hour to get to a decent, really nice restaurant. I would never travel an hour to get to a doctor. To me, I'm living in the wrong spot, and I need to fix where I'm living.
Absolutely. Because if you really got a really major medical emergency, by the time it takes you to get to the hospital you need to get to, something could happen. You could actually lose your life. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot. That's a big decision. And everybody's got to make this decision for themselves.
Yes.
Whether you come out here single, whether you come out here married, you got to make that decision for yourself. Because if something happens and it's an emergency, and you got to get to the hospital fast.
Yeah.
Okay, that ain't nothing to play with. Now you can get to the shopping centers slow, slim slow. Okay, but if you got a medical emergency, you got to get to the hospital in a certain amount of time. Because I hear a lot of stories. Well, if I could have got to the hospital 15 minutes earlier, this condition wouldn't have been as bad, or she or he wouldn't have died. Okay, so that's just something really to think about, you know. And when we first moved here, we had no idea that there was going to be one of the biggest hospitals, that, you know, World Health Organization hospital, you know, that's recognized, that hospital. We didn't know that hospital was even here. But
I did before I moved here. It's one of the reasons I chose Santiago.
I didn't have a clue. Okay, but I'm glad that it's here, because if I got to get to where I need to go, then I'm going to get there, and I'm going to get there quickly. Because the life you save just may be your own.
Yes. I mean, for example, the hospital, not Holmes, but the other hospital that's right here on Duarte, that's where the mayor was. The mayor of Santiago was there. So, hey, if it's good enough for him. Good
enough for him, and he the mayor of the whole city. Hello.
Good enough for me.
Oh, yeah, good enough for me too.
So, again, I would suggest really to go back through our catalog. I cannot stress enough that there has been so many videos that we've done with some really meat and potatoes information that can just be vital to maybe your choice or decision making, or even if you're making yourself a list of what should I be looking for.
Right.
And then maybe one of our videos gave you something that you forgot to think about to wherever you're moving to, because it doesn't have to be the Dominican Republic. It can be anywhere. Still the same things are in play, meaning your safety, your health, you know, proximity to places. So look back on some of our videos on cost of living. Look back on some of our videos on our medical insurance, on with or without medical insurance. Look back on some of the videos on what to do if you're serious about moving. What should you do now? A little checklist on how to prepare, and it'll actually answer some questions to help you decide if expat living is even for you, which we have a video about that. Is expat living for me? Things to consider. So there's things you got to think about, because it is not like living in the United States, and I think it's really hard for people to get out of that U.S. mentality.
Right, absolutely,
you know?
absolutely.
They're scared, which that's what the U.S. is, like you said it before. You said that's what they do. They put fear and disbelief that you could ever live better.
Outside of the country, outside of the U.S. Yep. So they get you to stay there because they don't want you to. They want you to take a vacation inside the country. They don't want you to go to Bahamas or Barbados or St. Croix or Puerto Rico or here. They don't want you because they know that wherever you go, your money's going. They want you to stay right there in Disneyland or Disney World. Okay, dropping all those dollars so they pay out and they can get their coffers loaded, while you remain unhappy and broke in the U.S. of A.
I mean, so that's basically what it comes down to right there.
That's what it comes down to.
Think outside the box. Why not? We've got a video about that too. Why not?
And you know what? Fear. That's it.
We have a video about fear.
Fear.
Yeah. What's keeping you there?
Yep. And you know, I go on YouTube and I look at a lot of the other YouTubers interfering other YouTubers and ask them what made you get up and what made you leave. What made you leave from California and come to Italy?
Oh, interviewing, you meant.
Interviewing.
As you said, interfering.
No, interviewing. They're interviewing them, and they will figure out, wow, you're all by yourself, you're all alone. This guy was interviewing with this female, and find out why you just want to just get up and go out of the country. Well, first of all, he was in the military. And once you're in the military, you know what the country being overseas is all about. So now you got that flavor, you got that taste in your mouth.
They don't have the fear. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The
they don't have
first
that
thing
fear.
is getting that passport. Is you're scared because you don't know what to expect when you go through customs. You don't know what to expect when you're entering a new country.
Right.
But leave the fear behind.
Yeah.
Try it. You might like it.
Hey, we can do it. You guys can too.
Got
and
that
so many
right.
other, because it's thousands of people living here in the Dominican Republic, living like millionaires. And the ones that ain't here, you best believe it, they're in other countries. And a lot of them don't advertise it. They just want to get out of the matrix and go somewhere else so they can hear the chickens in the morning. They can sit back. They can sit back on their porch. No firing squad marching by. None of that crazy stuff. And they want peace of mind in their retirement years.
Yes.
So that's why they do what they do.
Yep.
So, in the meantime, between the time, always remember that life is to be enjoyed.
And Luisa, we hope we answered some of your questions and we cleared up some of the things that other viewers had as far as being a senior and coming out to the DR. Always hit subscribe, hit notifications so you can get some more videos like this. If you guys have questions, do comments below. We read the comments. We try to respond to everyone. And remember, underneath all of our videos, we have all of our contact information and how you can patron the channel. And make sure to hit that thumbs up.
And until the next video, peace, love, and stay safe.